Welcome to this Australia travel and COVID-19 update. Australia is undergoing the greatest crisis since 1901. And I'm not saying this lightly. I'm saying this because tens of thousands of Australians are stranded abroad with no path to get back into their country. Not because they don't want to, but because their government locked them out. The government has enforced harsh restrictions and border shutdowns that many think go too far. I mean, if you are an Australian citizen abroad, it should be your right to get back into your country. I mean, you are a hardworking individual. You are a taxpayer. So for a country to forbid its own citizens to come back into the country, I mean, even during a pandemic situation, goes well beyond anything that should be accepted. At the end of the day, you are a citizen, you are paying taxes, you have done everything right. It doesn't matter why you are abroad. Maybe you went on a trip, doesn't matter if it was business related, for leisure, doesn't matter. But somehow you ended up abroad, and needless to say, you had no idea that this was going to happen, but it did happen and you are stranded overseas. And I think the people who are taking the hardest toll here are the children. Certainly isn't their fault. I really think the whole situation in Australia has gotten out of hand. I personally have a friend, he lives in Melbourne, owns a gym. As we know, Australia enforced lockdown after lockdown and he was forced to shut down the gym. He did not receive a single dollar in government support, nothing. Yet he had to continue to pay his rent. I mean, he's not the only Australian who had to go through this, but think about it. I mean, the extreme financial loss, the depression, the anxiety it creates, the never-ending uncertainty. I know that millions of Australians are extremely unhappy with how the government responded to COVID-19 and the vaccine rollout. Let's have a look at some of the facts here. Only 35.5% of Australians are fully vaccinated, meaning they received 2 shots, while 30.7% of people are vaccinated worldwide. But this is not the right metrics to be looking at, because I don't think an Australia should compare itself with developing nations. Well over 50% of Americans are fully vaccinated. 70% of Belgium's population is vaccinated. Most European Union countries have vaccinated 50 to 60% of their population. Now, if we take a look at Australia's 35.7% vaccination rate, and compared to the 30.7% vaccination rate worldwide, you can see that the country isn't really doing that much better. But after being criticized, the country quickly ramped up its vaccination process. Australia is not the only country that had delayed the vaccine rollout. Also, New Zealand and other Asian countries delayed it because they thought by enforcing strict lockdowns they could contain the virus. It looks like the country is on the right track right now. Let's have a look at the travel situation in Australia. The government will only open up to international tourists once the vaccination rate target has been reached. When 70% of Australia's adult population is fully vaccinated, most businesses or all businesses will be able to open up again. Only once 70% of the population received both doses, only once 70% of the population is fully vaccinated, businesses can reopen. In order for their international borders to open up, 80% of the population must be fully vaccinated. These are really high numbers. And as of right now, a decent part of Australia's population is against getting the jab. So again, until this happens, it's going to be difficult for most businesses to operate as normal. As of right now, it really looks like most Australians are going to get the jab because everyone wants life to continue. This is not good news if you need to travel internationally for business, leisure, family, it's going to be a little bit of a tough time because many Australians are not allowed to leave the country and many are not allowed to get back into the country either. It is unclear by when Australia will have 80% of its population fully vaccinated, so it's probably smart to not make any travel plans until we really see things improving down under. As of right now, you need to wear a mask outdoors and indoors, and that holds true regardless of what you're doing outdoors. So if you're standing outside somewhere and you're having coffee, you're supposed to wear a mask at all times. So if you want to drink a coffee outside, then just make a hole in the mask and put the straw right through it. Should seal the deal. No, I mean seriously, really reconsider all unnecessary travel to Australia because it's not going to be a great time, and obviously you're not even going to be able to get in. But even if things should get better, you have to ask yourself if it's going to be the same experience as it was before. While you're waiting on Australia to reopen its borders, you can still travel to open countries. I shot a video on countries without COVID restrictions. If you want to watch this video, then just click on the link that appears right here. When do you think Australia is going to reopen its borders? And what do you think will happen to the Australians stranded abroad? At what point will they be able to come back into Australia? Leave a comment below and let us know. Make sure to subscribe and turn on alerts to receive a notification when I upload the next video on travel updates, COVID restrictions, and digital nomad locations. Thank you for watching.